Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Thank you for those who are joining us in the audience tonight. It's nice to see a full house, and those also joining us via our district's YouTube channel. We start every meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance, just like school. All right. So, flags over here. If you join me in saying the pledge, I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Jessica, may I have a roll call of trustees, please?
Trustee Bush?
Here.
Trustee Duty? Here. Trustee LaMarca?
Here.
Trustee Law?
Here.
Trustee McGloin?
Here.
President Jeff?
Here.
Trustee Young?
Excused.
1 excused, 0 absent. 7 present. 6 present, sorry.
6, bro. She's just coming back from vacation. We'll give her a little bit of time. 5 minutes.
Got it.
We have a motion from the Board of Trustees to approve the agenda as presented. Second. Any questions on the agenda, folks? No? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Thank you very much. We're going to start with our building updates. High school, Mr. Lupini. Good evening. Thank you.
Good evening. For tonight's Depew High School building updates, I'd like to introduce Natalie Witt.
March was a busy month for the leadership class. First, they hosted and nailed it, a baking competition on March 21st. Students were challenged to recreate a gravity-defying cake. 5 groups participated with varying degrees of success, but Hank Herenshaw and Jonah On took home the golden chum hats. On the 22nd, another group ran the second annual Spike Fest volleyball tournament. 6 teams fought it out tournament style, and the senior team emerged victorious over the faculty team. Then, on the 28th, leadership invited the 3rd grade girls to come over from Cayuga for the pajama jam. It was held from 6 to 8 p.m. here in the cafeteria. 38 3rd graders attended to get their hair and nails done, play games, and do crafts. This was made possible with the help of 23 high school volunteers. April began with the DHS Music Department Spring Craft Show on the 1st. Leadership also ran an escape room on the 11th. 2 different rooms competed to see which could escape first. The winners were awarded gift cards to Chick-fil-A and Wendy's. Follies Week started on Monday. We have dress-up days planned for each day, and tomorrow we are trying a new building-wide activity. Tomorrow we will have a rock, paper, scissors tournament within the 4 classes and then the teachers and staff. On Friday we have our Follies Assembly and we'll finish the tournament in front of the school. Students Against Destructive Decisions will be sponsoring the annual Grim Reaper Day on the 27th. Mr. Depew will take place next Friday at 8 p.m. We have 10 senior guys vying for the title, so come out and watch them strut their stuff. The following Friday, May 5th, is the prom at Hotel Lafayette. The annual Awards Consortium will take place on May 24th, where we will honor underclassmen academic achievements as well as student activity contributions.
Thank you, Natalie. Well done. Middle school, Skirtle Stone.
For the middle school, I'd like to introduce Ryan Soborowski.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Soborowski. I'm in 8th grade and I'm a member of NJHS and I'm a web leader. In April through 3rd and 7th was the spring recess. On April 14th was the end of the 3rd working period for the middle school. On April 19th and 20th is when the New York State ELA assessments begin for grades 3 through 8. In May, specifically on May 4th, the National Junior Honor Society inductions as well as the 2-year recognition ceremony will happen. This is for both 7th and 8th graders, and it will be a reception and a candle lighting ceremony to represent the 5 pillars of NJHS, which are academics, character, leadership, service, and citizenship. On May 5th, there will be a Freedom in America assembly, in which students will decide to either write an essay or create a poster which represents freedom in America. So far, the essay finalists are in 7th grade, Carter Ostrowski, and in 8th grade, Ryler Sivitz, Nadia Ridgway, Mariah Roscoe, and Felix Lenthier. There'll be a first place, second place, and 3 runners-up. And on May 9th through 11th will be the honor roll breakfast for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It recognizes students who made the honor roll in the 3rd marking period, and it invites them to a breakfast, which is during first period. May 23rd is when the New York State Grade 8 Science Performance Test begins. And on May 24th and 25th, the Hall House Field Trip Grade 7 will begin. And it is where grade level 7 will be divided into 2 groups who will experience reenactments from the 1700s and 1800s at the Hall House.
Thank you, Ryan, nice job, very informative. And last but not least, Cayuga Heights, Mrs. Kuza is joining us this evening.
Good evening. I would like to introduce 5th grade student Zach Krozek.
We have settled back in from break and are headed into the last trimester of the school year. We are prepared for New York State testing and our end of the year activities. Upcoming activities include April 19th and 20th, New York State ELA testing, grades 3 through 5. May 2nd and 3rd, New York State math testing, grades 3 through 5. May 3rd, PTO meeting at 7 p.m. May 10th and 11th, author visit Amy Ludwig Vanderwater. May 10th, Cayuga Heights grade 4 and 5 band and chorus concert at 7 p.m. May 16th, grade 4 and 5 field testing. May 16th, budget vote, and May 18th, kindergarten orientation.
Well done, Zach, thank you. Next on our agenda tonight are a few presentations. We're going to start with recognizing a couple of our athletic organizations and their achievements recently. So I'll let Trustee Bush or Trustee Lamarck go down. Go from here. You two can go down. I'll grab it. Tracks first. Let's give a round of applause, folks. Right? Just like the kids. There you go.
So I just, kind of both of us decided to nominate the girls' basketball team. And then I thought it'd be fitting to recognize Loretta White at this time also. I've known Loretta for a while. Before I even say out about her accomplishments, she's probably one of the nicest kids I've ever met. She's a friend to everybody. She willing to help everybody all the time. So Loretta finished in 3rd place in the New York State Girls Indoor Track Public Championship Small School Division, and 4th place in the Federation Championship Small Schools this winter. Her throw in the weight throw competition, 44 feet, 11 inches. This broke her personal best distance for the 4th time this school year. She also attended the National Track and Field Tournament in Boston the following weekend and threw 48 feet. Good for a 7th place finish in a national tournament. Coach Staskowitz says Loretta's ability to be open and trust that her coaches had her best interests in mind helped her reach new heights. Loretta is a fierce competitor during meets, practice, and the classroom, always striving for her best. It's been an honor of mine and all the coaches to work with such an amazing young woman. We can't wait to see her continued success as her senior year comes to an end and the next chapter of her life begins. And then I believe this week also on the Facebook page for Depew, she also broke the outdoor record for shot put, correct? So her accomplishments outdoor, indoor, nationally. She's on the wall for state finalist. So we are ecstatic that Loretta White is part of Depew.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the girls varsity basketball team. Mr. Scachilla sent me a few notes to help me out, but I'm going to ad-lib a little bit here. The program took a turn for the best and changed the whole culture from the bottom up. That starts with the coaches. Megan Zablewski, modified, Rick Kristoff, JV, Dave Kristoff, varsity, Kenzie Bees on varsity. I'd like to personally thank Coach Kenzie for not only being an awesome coach, she is the epitome of commitment, dedication, and she's an amazing role model for the ladies. She drives from Elba every day, rain, snow, sleet, 45 minutes on a good day, hour, bad days, for the past couple of years. She's a 1,000-point scorer herself in Elba. So she's a pretty accomplished basketball player herself. We're extremely lucky to have her here at Depew. The varsity girls basketball team became the first boys or girls basketball team in school history to make the New York State basketball tournament this winter, finishing with an overall record of 23-3. The girls defeated Newport in the Class B1 sectional finals by a score of 44-30. Advancing, the girls beat Southwestern by a score of 72-54, punching their ticket to the New York State tournament. The program has compiled a 57-10 record and a 49-3 record against schools similar in size to Depew over the past 3 years. Coach Bizon said this season was one for the books. This team will forever hold a special place in my heart. From the beginning of the season, this group had bought in and gave every practice and game their all. As a coach, I was excited for every practice because this team was driven, they worked hard and had fun. Not often in a school of our size do you get amazing athletes compiled together on one team. We were lucky enough this year to have one of the most prolific scorers in all of Western New York, Kaylee Kristoff, who's going to play D1. Mia Vanelli, a counterpart who's just as good, could probably play D1 basketball if she wanted to, is committed to play D1 softball. In a school our size, to have two D1 athletes is amazing. And it was incredible to watch the entire year. We lost to Lancaster, I believe, by 6 points, if I'm not mistaken. A school, mammoth school. So I mean, the accomplishments will forever be on the wall of making the state tournament for the first time ever. And we want to thank the girls. Not only are they great athletes, they're great sportsmen. And I would dare to venture that their cumulative GPA is probably above 90. They're extremely nice kids, extremely smart kids, and they represent Depew wherever they go all the time. We appreciate that highly. So I'm going to call some names. You guys wouldn't mind coming up and just hanging here for a minute?
Natalie Witt. Mia Vanelli. Samantha Pintabone. Ella Pagano. Lisa Overton. Olivia Lazat. Kaylee Kristoff. Ashley Kristoff. Janaya Del Rego. Aldine. Naima Blair. Maya Bush. Maggie Bush. And then for the coaches, Richard Kristoff. David Kristoff. And Mackenzie Bazan.
Any parents who like to come up and take pictures, please do. We'll take a few moments. Take your time. Coaches, you can get behind however you want to do it. Be a nice moment. Mr. Skachillis, apparently is in charge. Come on. Thank you to trustees Bush and Lamarca for making these recommendations, for carrying through. We appreciate that very much. You represent the board well, as well. I know we have a capital improvement project update. It's kind of hard act to follow, sorry. But nevertheless, here you are. So we have representatives from Young and Wright Architectural. Thank you for your time.
Evening, everyone. My name is Steve Shorowski with Young and Wright Architectural. I'm going to get us started tonight, introduce the rest of the team here, and really turn over the bulk of the presentation to everyone behind me, the guys real responsible for pulling everything together here. So tonight, we just want to give the board an update on the schedule, where we're at with the overall capital project. We did receive bids yesterday for phase 1 of the project, and we'll be moving into construction shortly, and just outline where we go from there, how this summer is going to progress, and show some nice pictures of what we're all looking forward to when this gets built. So Jerry isn't here today. You guys all probably know Jerry. Unfortunately, he had a medical procedure last week, so he's not walking around just yet, but he'll be back around shortly and say hello to everyone at that time. I have Kaylee, EC, and Joe here with me. EC and Joe from Buffalo Construction. Kaylee, the lead designer and architect for Young and Wright on this capital project. I'm going to turn it over to Joe real quick to give a quick update on some other items.
Thanks, Steve. So, this is my 4th capital project here, right? I've been the construction manager here, going back since 2009. So I'm pretty excited to be part of another one. I've been integral through facilities planning, so thank you for allowing me to be part of that. I've been through a couple of superintendents, a couple of business managers, now we've got the new group here, so pretty excited to be part of this project. You guys showed the kids today, you guys gave them kudos today. One thing that I wanted to present is your middle school technology group. They did that Buffalo Bills Stadium in Minecraft, and it was on the news, and we were really excited to see it. Dr. Stupinski, I reached out to him, and he's hooked us up with the head of the technology department, and we're going to do a class with the middle school students because we really want to get them involved in what we're doing as part of the construction. So we're pretty excited to do that. May 9th, we're going to be doing that with the technology department. So I kind of want to just highlight that because it's going to be it's pretty exciting to see some young folks, looking into the construction and technology and all that piece that we're going to be doing here. So pretty excited. I'm going to hand it over to Kaylee to kind of talk about the capital project.
As we dive into the capital project, I want to give an update on the schedule. As you guys know, we did open up bids yesterday, and this whole project was based off of a 2-phase project. And the scope was generated from our pre-referendum conversations. And the core objective of this project is to include toilet room renovations, air conditioning, as well as an auditorium addition at Cuyahoga Heights, as well as district-wide PA system and lockdowns. So as we take a look at that, some things that we found during the schedule phases was some delays and lengthy process with the SED review times. That did push us to opening up bids a little bit later than anticipated, but as you can see the side-by-side comparison of when we had initially submitted to SED and now review times. Review times initially were projected to be only 13 weeks, and then actual review times came out to be 23 weeks. So that did push our bids opening back a little ways, but we're still on track. Now that we have received bids, we're full steam ahead. So I want to talk a little bit about the design process and what to anticipate. The design process was a group effort. There was a lot of feedback from both maintenance, also leadership, and we want to thank everybody for all of their feedback that was involved. It was definitely it was utilized in a lot of the design decisions, and it helped us refine some of our overall intent of the plans that were issued. So I would like to thank not only all of the board members that made this happen, but also the community for all the feedback that was given to us that really ultimately made this project. So, to come to the good stuff, I've got all the graphics that were generated of what's to come in this project. So here's a view of what the exterior addition will look like at Cuyahoga Heights Auditorium. We're excited to have this new facility for the school, and it'll be a main feature highlighting the music department. As you walk into the space, there's a lobby entrance with a graphic feature as soon as you walk in. From there, you'll see the auditorium space with many acoustic features, as well as some lighting and a new stage. Here's some more views of that space. And then, as well as part of this project, we have some toilet room renovations. And this is kind of going to take place throughout the school. So I'm going to hand this back off to Steve and Joe to discuss the budget aspects of this project.
Thanks, Kaylee. We're real excited for everything that's coming here. It's been a long road. As Kaylee mentioned, the state education department review process has been an ongoing nightmare, to put it mildly, and the durations of time extended. But we are fortunate. I know a lot of other districts in the area are really struggling with the state, the education department with review times, with the construction industry, the availability of contractors and prices. But yesterday we were able to receive a total of 28 bids for the contracts for the project, which will allow us to proceed, which is really important at this time. Yesterday really was the opening. Today and tomorrow the team is spending 2 full days doing D-scopes. What that means is we meet with all of the individual contractors one-on-one, all the low bidders, apparent low bidders, make sure they have all of the work covered, entitled in their bid. That way when we make a recommendation to the Board of Education, we're confident that they're confident that they can do the work and that they're prepared to do the work and start. So that process will continue for the next day or so, and then we'll get a recommendation letter to the district next week for the next board meeting, so contracts can be signed. This is gonna come really fast and quick here, so Joe will get into a little bit of the construction at that point.
So, understanding the world that we're in right now, 2021 is when we put this project together. As you can imagine, costs have increased. So what the focus is, and I think us anticipating that in the last year while we were through design, is we value engineered these projects to ensure that all of those core items were still included, right? So the auditorium still work that we're gonna be doing, toilet room renovations are the core items that we're doing, air conditioning in all the classrooms, security systems and PA, and the notification systems, right? So those were like the core items that ultimately we wanted to make sure that we were incorporated into this project. And this team behind me spent countless hours to ensure that, you know, we could do that. So obviously, as Steve said, we took bids, we've got some marathon days that, you know, are ahead of us right now, trying to get these D-scopes done to make a recommendation for next Tuesday. And we're gonna hit the ground running once we get these contracts awarded, so we're really excited about that. So working the plan, obviously, once contracts are awarded, there's, you know, several steps that we're gonna take, letters of intent, contracts, understanding the construction schedule. Michelle and her team have already started moving out people at Cayuga Elementary because of the 4 classrooms that we're gonna be taking over, so they've moved things around already in anticipation for this construction to start, so thank you for your assistance with that. So we're really ready to go. The contractors are geared up, they're excited, everybody's ready to break ground and really start working on this addition. One of the tools that we use, of course, a lengthy schedule, it's got all the tasks on the project, really well thought out. Of course, there's been a lot of time spent on the planning phase here, so we've really kind of put our heads together with, you know, the facilities folks, Dave Hess and his team, just trying to understand where we can work and the spaces that we can work. So all those plans are put together already, and you know, so there's gonna be no surprises when we start construction. Everyone's aware and everyone's understanding what this is gonna look like. Understanding cost management, obviously that's kind of what we're here for, right? Managing the budget, managing the contractors, understanding, you know, unforeseens or anything that we have to manage there. And of course, those communications at the OACM meetings, and of course, any of these board meetings that Dr. Stupinski wants us to be at, we're gonna be here, obviously communicating to you folks, and letting you know what's going on, as needed, and as much as you need us to be here. And then, this is a long time from now, but closing out the project, you know, this project's gonna be this summer, and then all through next summer, between all 4 buildings, basically. So we've got, you know, all the cool stuff that we're doing with the auditorium and Cayuga, you know, but also the bus garage work and the fuel tanks and fuel island that we have to do over there. So, not the pretty shiny stuff, but all stuff that obviously needs to be done. So, this 2-year project, obviously, we'll work through, you know, executing it and closing it out, and then ultimately starting up phase 2, which I believe is, you know, in design right now. So we'll be kind of already starting to look at what the cool stuff is that we're going to be doing in phase 2. So pretty excited to be part of another great capital project here for the district.
Questions? I just have one, probably more for superintendent. Is the temporary road gonna cut through behind, if I'm seeing that right, is that going behind the playground?
We originally had anticipated on trying to go to the west of the existing fence. It was advised to not do that due to the drainage and the wetlands over there. So there is a section of the playground, so it'll be to the right of the fence if you're looking at it from Como Park, about 15 to 18 feet that we're gonna take that over and that'll be access. We've designed, you know, fencing to go along that side with fabric on it to, you know. Yeah, so it'll be its own area. There's a staging area that is up front closer to Como Park, but it doesn't close down the playground. That was one of the core items, obviously, making sure that the playground was still in use. And so, yeah, we worked those
That's
details
gonna
out.
hit some of the land that we just acquired, right? Yeah, we're in the process. Yes. Okay. All right, got it. That's what thanks. Yep.
Just quick, I don't know if you have a number or not. The setback from the state postponing the project, I know typically we get our bids out in the winter time, it's most favorable. Any idea the percent that we would have lost, just a guess, from the state?
I don't think the delay caused anything, cause I think the numbers are, they are what they are, I think. This is the project itself not being that normal summer rush push. I think it helped us a lot because this is a year-long project. We've got 2 full summers plus working while the school's in session with the new addition. So, I don't know if it hurt us all that much. I think the project itself, I think, lends to, you know, it not being an increase in cost because of the delay. Yeah. The only, I think the only one that delayed was, you know, maybe the teachers over at Cayuga who are anticipating us being there already.
If this had been maybe a more traditional one summer project that had to be done by September,
Absolutely.
we probably wouldn't have even put the project on the street.
Yeah.
Because it would have been too late to even get materials at this point, we wouldn't have gotten anything in time for it to be finished, and that would have been a nightmare. So, lucky in some ways.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the project itself helped the cause.
Thank you.
Are you able to reveal the name of your silent partner that's with you?
This is easy, so.
My name is EC. Hello, everyone.
Hello. What is your role?
I will be the project manager throughout the construction phase, and I'm pretty excited. I mean, Joe started this conversation saying that he's been here since 2009. I cannot wait to say that in the past 9 years, so
Nice.
very excited.
Well, glad to have you as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No. Thank you, folks. We look forward to
thank you for having us.
Thank you.
good work from you again. Hold on to your seats, folks. We're here for budget presentation number 4. Donna Hill, School Business Administrator. I take care of you. Oh, you don't want to miss this. Good idea. Put a lot of work into this.
Take care.
Take it easy.
You already do a lot of work for them.
Watch it later on
Put it more to
YouTube.
work, yeah.
So good evening, and thank you for coming tonight and for viewing this evening. Tonight, we are bringing forth a balanced budget for the board's consideration for adoption for next year. I can go through. Oops. Okay, there we got it. Thank you. So for the agenda for this evening, of course, it was our hope that we would have a final state aid run without an enacted budget by New York State. We're moving forward with our budget. I will say that it was reported late this afternoon that the governor and the legislative leaders, they did reach a tentative agreement on the bail reform side. So we're hoping that that will progress the talks. Also, yesterday they passed a 3-day stopgap measure to continue paying the state workers. And while these negotiations continue, from my world, a 3-day extension versus a full week, which we've had, this is their 3rd extender. That tells me when we hear crickets pretty much from the state and a 3-day versus a full week, that kind of indicates to business officials around the state that we're close. So let's hope that that's the case. Still on the table, however, is the housing shortage in the state's eyes, expansion of charter schools in New York City, and a host of environmental initiatives that support the climate change provisions. So I think that's where we're at. But tonight what we'll talk about are some final revenues and expenditures, current enrollment and projected enrollment, and then we're gonna review some slides that we have seen in the past including our tax levy, the vehicle purchases, use of our reserves, the capital outlay project, and the breakdowns of revenues and expenditures, our three-part budget, the estimated tax rates, and budget propositions that will be placed before you for adoption this evening, the contingency budget, the property tax report card, and then we'll follow up with the Board of Education elections, which we have 2 seats this year, and some important dates. Whoops. This is a slide you've seen before. This was the initial run of the governor in January, and that is what our budget is based on currently. Should we receive a word about the budget and it's favorable, we'll be very happy. If it's significantly reduced, then we'll have further discussion within the district. This was my anticipated slide for that enacted budget, but we're gonna leave it as is for now. So speaking about our enrollment, I had talked about this a couple meetings ago and said that I would bring it forward at this meeting. Our current enrollment is about 1,789 students, and that's including K through 12 and any ungraded students. It's up a little bit from last year. And what I wanted to bring to your attention is how we're looking at projected enrollment moving forward. So what we learned through the capital project dialogue back with state ed was the different methodologies that they use when they're calculating building units for aid versus other methodologies that districts use for enrollment projection. Are any perfect? No. Are any exact? No. But what we decided after speaking with Lee Hoffman, our Chief Information Officer, we agreed that we probably should align ourselves with the methodology that they're using for the capital project. And so from now, right at this point moving forward, we'll continue to do that. However, please be advised that they're still using data and live birth data from 10 to 20 years ago. So when they revamp that, we'll have a lot better data to utilize. But looking at this enrollment projection using that methodology by New York State, we see an increase in 24 and 25 and even into 26, and then a little bit it starts to drop off after that. That's good news for all of us. Okay. You'll know we've reviewed this in the past. On March 1st, we submitted our tax levy to the Office of the State Comptroller at $19,851,703. That's a tax levy increase of 2.07% or $402,207. It does not exceed the New York State tax cap, and this district has been meeting that, staying under that tax cap for years. We reviewed in the past the vehicle reserve and talked about the bus purchasing that we're looking to do this year, and in 23-24 for this budget, it would be $653,000. That is going to equate to 3 65-passenger buses and 1 30-passenger bus. We reviewed this in the past as well of the use of reserves for this year's budget, with 2 reserves being utilized, our employee retirement system and our teachers' retirement system. We've also reviewed in the past our intent to move forward with a capital outlay project of $100,000. This will get the aid back the very next year. In this next year, we're looking at addressing the HVA system and the management of that system in the middle school. You might be reminded that I had mentioned proposed in the budget and actually favorable on both sides of the house was increasing this capital outlay project of $100,000 to $250,000. Without an enacted budget, we're not prepared to go there, but we are moving forward with our $100,000 project, and we're happy to do so, as it's a very complete project and it will all be contained right within the middle school. We presented prior to tonight a balanced budget of $51,542,003 as of March 29th, 23. And we finally made it to the bottom of our School Budget 101 slide, where we are moving now into our budget hearing and our budget vote in May. This was also where we were going through what's happening more into New York State and meeting. We were were stuck on April first, hoping that we had a enacted budget, which we did not. This is not the first time I've been through not having a budget. I'm hoping it's sooner than later, but we'll continue to move forward. So if we break down our revenues for the proposed budget, our state aid, we're looking at $2.3 million difference. From sales tax and other charges, we're looking at an increase of $304,196. We're looking to utilize some of our revenues, appropriated fund balance for revenues this year, and also the use of our reserves that I mentioned before, ERS and TRS. A small miscellaneous revenue increase of $3,304, and the tax levy that we've just spoke about was an increase of $402,287 for a total of just over $1.8 million in revenues. Taking a look at that same budget revenue, in the pie chart, 48% of our revenue comes from state aid, 38% comes from property taxes. We have then smaller amounts of sales tax, which is 5%. This year, the use of our reserves of 1%, miscellaneous revenue the same, and the 7% from the appropriated fund balance. Moving on to the expenditures. This year in administration and general support, there's an increase of $717,293. Instructional from year to year, just over $1 million. Transportation, a very small increase, $3681. And benefits, we're seeing a little bit of reprieve there, and it's small, $13,675. But that, I will attribute that to an administration settlement, as well as all individual contracts, and they are all participating and contributing to the healthcare, anywhere between 10% and 20%, and we've seen the savings from that. Debt service has increased a little bit of $7,950, which is total, again, of 1.8, and below that is the vehicle purchases, but it's because we're using our reserves, it's not included in the expenditures above. Same thing as a pie chart. This is how it breaks out. Where instructional program, of course, where we want to spend most of our money is at 55%. And then to the left, our benefits is next at 21%. And then administration general support at 11%, debt service and obligations at 8%, and transportation at 5%. In our three-part budget, as you know, we have to break this down into administration, into program, and into capital. And here the increases this year is in administration, which is most of our salaries and benefits, supplies, legal fees, property insurance, school board expenses, is 7.53% increase. And in our program, which is really the salaries and benefits of teachers, instructional costs for equipment, textbooks, and other operating costs, is increased 3.01%. And then in capital, all transportation, debt service, lease expenditures, settlement claims, facilities, utilities, maintenance, renovation, any leasing cost, that would be included in capital at 4.5%. And our total budget to budget increase is 3.62% from last year, for the total of $51,542,003. Okay, moving on to the estimated tax rate. So we have two municipalities, Cheektowaga and Lancaster, and these are estimates. These assessed values and equalization rates are no control over the district. We get them from the municipalities, the assessors that work in both of those municipalities, and these equalization rates are determined by the state formula that they utilize. They're not final, however, until July. So with that said, what I did is I took last year's tax rate and did an estimate and calculated for Cheektowaga and for Lancaster. Now you will notice, and you will on the next couple slides as well, that in 21-22, Cheektowaga and Lancaster were both at 100% equalization rate. And in 22-23, Cheektowaga stayed at 100%, Lancaster was at 87%. What's proposed this year, and it's listed in the Office of the Real Properties, and I'll show you that in a second, Cheektowaga is estimated to be at 91% and Lancaster at 75% equalization. Now, I will say that this, to me, is more of a worst case scenario. If I was hard pressed, I think the Cheektowaga rate is gonna come in closer to the current rate. And Lancaster, I think it'll be up a little bit, but I do not think it'll be as high as the $20.91. I don't know, I'm hoping more around $18, $19. But you have to realize that they're taking a bigger hit on their equalization and they're going to have to share more of our tax levy because of that. This is small up here for everyone at home. I added this slide because I really wanted to show the history of the equalization of both the town of Cheektowaga and Lancaster so that you can see the fluctuations. You know, the Office of Real Property Tax Services always kind of beats on the business officials and says, you know, there wouldn't be any equalization at all if all municipalities were at 100% of the market value. And that's just really unlikely, especially when you have a couple municipalities. Depew's lucky we only have 2, some have 4 and 5. And the rotation of reassessing those properties is hardly ever in line. So, you know, it is what it is, and we'll continue to work with the equalization, but we'll get those numbers later in the summer. And then we'll be working with Jessica to get those filed. So based on that worst case scenario, looking at estimated changes for the upcoming year, in Cheektowaga at a 91% equalization rate, it would be about $1,723 of their tax bill on a $100,000 assessed home, with an increase of about $187. And in Lancaster at a 75% equalization rate, it'd be $2,091 on their tax bill, with an estimated change of $326. So the proposals that will be put forth before you to adopt and put forth to the voters. Number 1 is our budget at $51,542,003, which is 3.62%, including our tax levy of $19,851,703. And the tax levy percent increase again is 2.07, which is under the tax cap. The second proposition for the voters would be purchase of the vehicles, the 3 66 passenger buses, and the 1 30 passenger bus that we spoke of in prior meetings as well. The third proposition this year will be a purchasing of some real properties. We have 5 parcels that are adjacent to the district's property lines that we are asking the voters to consider in the amount of $25,000 that will help with our future development, and it'll also benefit our capital project construction project that we're about to commence. The last proposition for consideration is asking for a student member to join the Board of Education. This proposition will authorize the board to establish the process to select a high school student, and they will attend and serve as an ex officio member of the board. They will participate and attend all public meetings, but they will not vote, and they will not attend executive session. Should we have the opportunity to present the budget twice, or we would go to a contingency budget, and up here, a little hard for me to read from there. You can see our budget. Sorry about that. We would have to make reductions from the current budget, and that would be all non-union salary increases, also equipment, unless it has to do with hardware or health or wellness. We would also reduce unfortunately, we would have to take out our $100,000 capital outlay project, and that total reduction would be $396,337. In addition, under a contingency budget, we would have to have no community use of our facilities without full reimbursement of the expenses that we would incur. This is the tax report card. Essentially, when you're adopting a budget, you're adopting this tax report card. It is due to state ed within 24 hours of adoption of a budget, or the deadline is April 24th. So with the adoption of the budget tonight, I will submit this tomorrow. And the top part just really goes through much of what you've already seen, but I wanted to show you what it actually looked like. And then the second part is also the list of all of our reserves and any anticipation of using those reserves for this upcoming budget. We also have 2 seats up for election on the Board of Education, and with the drawing, 1A will be listed with Nicholas Lamarca, and 2A will be Amy Duty. Voter eligibility, you must be a citizen of the United States, you must be 18 years old, and you must be a resident of the school district for a period of 30 days prior to the vote. Up to our important dates, just as I had mentioned to you, with the adoption, we'll submit the tax report card within 24 hours. Our budget hearing of our entire budget will be on May 9th, and on May 16th, we will present the budget and the Board of Education slate of candidates to the taxpayers between 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. in the high school gymnasium. Again, our next board meeting is our budget hearing, May 9th. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those. If you do not, I thank you very kindly and have a good evening.
I just have a question, maybe I'm missing it. Page, slide 7. Just the tax levy page, which says $19,851,703, that's gonna be the new one. I see the old one is $19,449,417.
Yes.
I don't see the math though between that and the new levy, I don't see the $402,000, I see $115,714, and I see $114,650, so.
It won't be listed there.
won't be
Yeah,
listed
on there when we went through it, right, this is just this is the actual formula of calculating the tax cap
Okay.
limit. Yep, and the differences between, with all of the growth factor in it from last year to this year and what you're allowed. So it'd be 2.07%, but that has to do with our pilots calculated in there. So most people will say it's a 2%, but as long as you go through the calculations, you include any exclusions, which we didn't have any this year, we will when the capital project goes online, and that'll be helpful. And with our pilots, we're allowed to go to 2.07%. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, this brings us to our first public forum. This is the the board meeting agenda. District residents may address the Board of Education with their concerns. Each resident has up to 3 minutes to address the board. A total of 50 minutes will be allowed for each public forum. And this public forum is for items that are on the agenda. Anybody? Any takers? Thank you. Superintendent's report, I believe, is up next.
Few items. I want to thank all of our, there you go, let's try that again. I want to thank all of our teachers and our administrators. We're starting our state assessments this week. And I know there's been a lot of preparation, a lot of excitement about taking the assessments and see how our students are performing. You'll see next month in one of our presentations, it's really, really important to have participation from all of our students. We get dinged for the number of students that choose to opt out of the exams, and you'll see that on the state report card, the way that we're ranked with the ESSA assessment. So thank you for all the families that are having their students sit and letting us know how well we're doing. We also want to compliment our administrative team. They've been going through a lot of leadership development training over the course of this past year, and their leadership in helping us to chart the future through our strategic planning process, through the work that's going on. I'm very grateful for their good work, for all the teacher leaders that have been stepping forward to help us. Encourage everyone in the community to attend our concerts, our recognition ceremonies, all of the great things that happened in the last 10 weeks of school. It's a real special time to celebrate the good things that are happening in our school. Another recognition of student voice. Depew is being recognized throughout the region right now for are listening to our student leaders, for the students driving a lot of the work that we're doing right now. One of those is the board's initiative to add a school board student member. You'll be voting on that in May. Also, tomorrow students will be involved in a podcast talking about student voice through the Western New York Superintendent's Association. They'll be coming in and talking with some of the students that are a part of my Superintendent's Advisory Committee on how they're influencing the direction of the schools. I'm very excited about that. I want to thank the Strategic Planning Committee and the CDEP Committee who are working on helping us to chart the next 5 years of our school. Themes that are emerging right now that we'll need to be focusing on involve student safety, academic performance, culture, climate and inclusivity, looking at mental health and wellness. And one of the other things that are emerging right now is to be thinking about the preparation of our students, not only for college, but for the careers. We're starting to see a lot of need, a lot of interest, and a lot of demand for making certain that our students are prepared for the trades industries and other things that don't necessarily require a professional degree. So that's something that's emerging, and I wanted the board to know about that. We'll be making a presentation in a couple months. And that's all I got at this time. Thank you.
Any questions, trustees? No? May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Any questions? I do, if you don't mind, Donna or Dr. Stavisky, can you just elaborate a little bit on number 18, New York Class Municipal Cooperation Agreement?
Yes.
Who will be participating with? You get your mic, please. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I'm very happy to do that. When I arrived in October, one of the first things that I asked for was a quarterly update to look at our cash flow and activities in and out of all of our accounts, which we there are several broken down. Moving into November, December, I started reaching out and looking for the best partner in depositing our funds and looking for a way to receive income and interest on the monies that we carry on a consistent basis, and started identifying which accounts that we could utilize that in. And then in December, at the end of December, we actually took a dip in rates. And, that's what most of us officials were talking about across the state, was if that was going to sustain, or was it just a blip, an increase in rates and then a drop. After that drop, rates started rising once again in January, and I started the process. And we're looking to work with NICLAS and put some of our money in there to get some income and get some interest, which is a really great thing we haven't been able to say that in a very, very long time in school districts about being able to invest your funds. It's a very safe program. I can take it out at any time. There's no risk, there's no penalty. But right now we're looking for 5% even on a monthly basis, which will be significant for us.
Any other questions? Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Brings us to new business. May I have a motion upon the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the 2023-2024 Depew School District budget as presented? So moved. Second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion is carried. May I have a motion that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, to approve the request from the Cross Training Athletics Football, Inc. to approve their not-for-profit status and waive all fees to use designated facilities?
So moved.
Second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. May I have a motion that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, to approve the request from the Greater Frontier Council Boy Scouts of America to approve their not-for-profit status and waive all fees to use designated facilities? So moved. Second. Questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Brings us to our second public forum. This is the time in the board meeting agenda. District residents may again address the Board of Education with their concerns. Each resident has up to 3 minutes to address the board. A total of 15 minutes will be allowed for each public forum. This public forum is for items that are not on the agenda. Anyone? Okay. What's that? Sir, if you can come forward, please, appreciate that. If you just give us your name and your address, that'd be awesome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Willie Solomon. I live in 4911 Depew on Broadway. I own the deli, probably everybody knows that.
Okay.
Depew Deli. My question in the 600,000 budget for buying the buses. What kind of buses is that required by the state? Is that electric buses? Do we need to buy new buses? Just we need some explaining about the buses. Thank you.
You're welcome, good evening. In a previous presentation, I had brought forth some of the information regarding the buses. So the electric buses are still a little ways off. 2035 is when it becomes supposedly a law, but even now they're talking that it could extend a little bit. The buses that we are purchasing are actually propane, and we'll be preparing our facilities for the arrival of those.
Was our concern, we saw the fire in the Connecticut and the school bus, and it was scary, and that's why I'm concerned. I'm glad they're buying the good buses. Thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome,
appreciate it.
sure.
Thank you. It's a nice deli, if you've never been there, you should pay a visit.
Very good.
Any comments or remarks by board members?
I just want to thank Mrs. Kudlow for being such a good sport the other night at the event. I was unable to attend, but I have seen pictures, so I just want to thank for being such a good sport for the kids.
I have more pictures. I will say that Mr. Utag was an even bigger sport because he took the dumpster candy sprinkles, not just the whipped cream.
A couple things, shout out to Aaron Nolan for that. When teachers can engage students in something that's pertinent to them, it's incredible. They have complete buy-in, and it's always good to get publicity too. So having the news here, seeing the kind of stuff that we do, makes everybody look amazing as we know we are. I attended Spike Fest. Many students were there. Good news was no adult faculty got injured during the playing of that. Usually, when I attend them at my school, there's always somebody who pops a hamstring or it gets injured. The adults always, never the kids. But so it was very well attended and nobody got injured on a good note. Trustee Law. Might as well just get out of it.
Well, first off, I want to thank Nick and Todd for the nominations for those for the sports teams. It was very nice, well done for us. And then, second of all, I just want to say thank you for the budget presentation, Don. It was really, really nice.
Are you good? All right, well, at this point, nobody is too disappointed. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Meeting's now adjourned, but if you have